Now, today's news out of the National Party's recent upheaval is the announcement of the reshuffle of Todd Muller's Caucus cabinet, and it is Hamilton East MP David Bennett who has risen to the top as our spokesman for agriculture. We're going to have a lot of fun over the next 4 months going into this election. So I'm just wanting to bring you up to speed. Rangatahi MP Andrew Falloon has been named David's Associate Agriculture and Biosecurity Spokesman. The pork industry will be stoked with that. Taranaki King Country MP Barbara Kruger is the party's rural community spokeswoman, a fantastic advocate for rural communities. Congratulations, Barbara. And a good mate of mine, old Hamish Walker there at Clutha Southland MP, is spokesman for forestry and land information, and also note associate tourism as well, which he is extremely passionate about. David joins us now. Good evening, sir, and congratulations.
Thank you, Sarah. Great to be on your show, and appreciate the warm welcome. Thank you.
No worries. As I was saying there earlier, it won't be our last rodeo together going into this election. We've got certainly a lot of issues to cover. David, this isn't you've been around for a very, very long time now, and Hamilton's first minister there in 33 years when you came in, but also you've been sitting in a hot seat of the Primary Production Select Committee for many years. So you were right up to scratch on the key issues within the primary sector.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate in the primary production to have a great team of national MPs there, I mentioned, and they do vital work there. But we've had some really big issues that have come through in recent months, and the key one would be the dairy reforms, where basically there's been a cross-party agreement on that, which is amazing to see in Parliament, and we've basically rewritten what the legislation was that came to the committee and come up with something that is very much welcomed by the dairy sector. And I think that shows how that select committee can actually achieve a lot working together, but also working for the best interests of our rural communities.
For those of you who are watching, that is the Dairy Industry Restructuring Act, which enables Fonterra to not have to pick up everybody's milk, and a very vital change to an act. Of course, another one that we've sort of closely worked on together, David, is of course M. bovis and the handling of that. I see there today there's some developments in a more accurate test. How are you feeling about it, and should you be elected as Minister for Agriculture, what would be the first thing you would do around the eradication program?
Well, the first thing you'd want to do if you would be get an update of the actual MPI's approach and how they're going, and what they might not be saying publicly, but internally about what they think is going on. That's another issue that, basically the government has come to an agreement with the industry around, and government funding that's been involved in that, and there's a lot of industry funding as well. It's something that is a bit of a wake-up call for the primary production sector, and a bit like the virus now through our country, it just shows how vulnerable we can be to something like that, and you never know what's around. And so we need to have probably the best processes around biosecurity and that to make sure that things like this don't eventuate, and then we need to actually have really strong structures around how you deal with them when they do come about. And just to make sure that the response times are quick, that we've got the testing, that we've also got, especially in the case of bovis, that we've got that tracing of animals, so we know where the animals have come from, where they've gone, and are then able to really take action. So there's a lot of lessons that we learn, and it's something that we've just got to be mindful that can always happen when you're in an industry like we are. And you've got to be able to.
Just having a little bit of trouble there, but we are still making it, David, so it is good. Now, David, you've been, as I said, around a long time, so has Minister O'Connor. What would you be most critical of him in his term as Minister of Agriculture?
Well, Damien and I know each other just... say one thing, that when we did that dairy reform just a few months ago, Damien and I worked closely together on that. So I'm not critical of him in that way at all. I think that we actually got a good result between the two of us as chair of the committee and him as minister. And so I think that, he's done some good work in his role as well. So I don't want to be overly critical of him at this stage. It's I understand what he's doing and what he's trying to do, but he's also in a party that doesn't value agriculture and the primary industries, I feel. And that's his biggest problem. And, he may be there, but he hasn't been able to get that response from the Labour New Zealand First government that actually gives him the support to do what's needed for the industry.
David, I know there'll be a lot of people listening that are really looking for a very strong minister in agriculture in opposition, spokesman for agriculture in opposition, that does challenge our minister on a lot of these pending draft policies that are creating so much uncertainty for our farming community. Will you hold him to account?
Oh, certainly, and that's our job. And, as you say, there's massive issues coming around water, the environmental issues that farmers are going to face. There's issues around probably taxation that farmers will face as well. So, there's a lot of uncertainty there, and you combine that with an environment where, you've had droughts and people have been struggling through that period of time. They just don't want that uncertainty. They want to know what their business plan is going to be and what they have to do. So certainly we're going to take into account, and there's some key areas there around water, the environment, and taxation that farmers just are uncertain of at this time. And the minister either knows what he's doing and doesn't want to tell us, or he doesn't know himself. And we'll soon find that out.
Okay, so Todd Muller did the right thing. He won the hearts and minds of rural New Zealand by going on a road trip. Will you do the same?
Yeah. Well, we intend to do as much as we can as well, yes. The difficulty is that we've only got 4 months to the election, and so that's a different kettle of fish to what we've had. So we'll try and get out there as much as we can and get into the community and listen and hear what people are saying and advocate for their best interests. So, yeah, we want to be there as an advocate and someone supporting communities, and especially our rural communities.
I just want to lastly say your support of your associate spokesman, Andrew Falloon. I've had the pleasure of meeting him. He's a lovely man from down this way. You've had a lot to do with Andrew over the time and confident in his ability as well.
Oh, certainly. And as you say, Andrew's a new MP that's got tremendous potential and future ahead of him, as does Hamish and as well. And then you've Norway that have more experienced MPs than Lawrence Ewell that have got a great sense of their community. So we're very lucky. And then you go up to the north and you've got people like Matt King that's very as well. So the rural they choose that needed for strong advocate communities. So for the in general, so extremely well played team that gets to the government and get some wins in the agricultural sector and then deliver the future. And it's important we have a view that we're out there with a concept that we want to see, and we're not just active dealing with issues of the day, because really it's got such a key role in New Zealand's future that to support it, making it successful it can, rather than just deal with the issues that day.
An issue of the day that viewers would very much to pass on to you, Cave, would like you and Todd urgently in Hawke's Bay, and would know when you're going to the region.
Well, that would be so. We appreciate it, and that's a great suggestion. So I'll be feeding that into the team, meeting with the team, and we'll want to get over there. They're experiencing a terrible drought. It seems like they haven't had rainfall that's dairy at the moment, and they've issues getting off their properties as well. The Waikato had an earlier drought in the year, but at least some rainfall in the autumn to quench. But Hawke's Bay is going through time. Just wanted to aid all those farming families out there working with you, and we're there supporting you, and get out there and be there so that you got that support, and you got MPs and a government and opposition that is willing to listen, wants to be there to support you, because we realize what a role you play in that community, but all the country's future.
This is Sarah's Country.